What's going on, everybody? It's me, Steve Fallen. Welcome to 10 Count. On today's edition, I am honored and I am privileged to talk to Medusa. How are you doing today?
Ding, 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 ding. I'm trying to do the 10 count. Ding, 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 ding. Woo!
As fast as you can, as
Hello.
fast as you can. And you have a book, The Woman Who Would Be King, the Medusa story. I
Yes,
am
sir.
pumped. You are pumped. We are all pumped for this book. But why was now the time to put this book out?
Well, long, long, long story. Very, very short. What else do you do during a pandemic for a year
Ah,
and a half but write a book? And when I was approached by ECW Press out of Canada, and they were just like, yes, you got to do this now this time. I'm like, I don't know. I've been waiting 40 years already. Why now? And I'm like, okay, this is perfect. So you have lots of sex with, your partner, or you write a book. So I did both. We didn't have any babies, but we probably could have had 10. Jeez.
oh my, oh my. Bunny rabbits over there, it seems like
I
from your
know.
description. Hey,
Hey,
hey.
pandemic was good. I tell you what, my husband and I saw more wildlife than we ever did in our whole life in
Wow.
our 5 acres. Like, I mean, it was just incredible. We're like, whoa, look at that. Oh, Florida has bears, right? I saw a bear when I first moved here. And
Wow.
everything is smaller, the turkeys, the deers, the bears in Florida. And we saw so many great things. We
Oh, no.
made a positive out of it. That's
Good.
for sure.
Good. I know some people did, and other people, obviously, it was
Did
not
not
a
do well.
fun time at all.
Well, it
Uh,
wasn't fun, but we made the best out of it.
good. Good. You had to
Yes,
fist
sir.
fight people for toilet paper and
Oh,
good times all around. But let's not talk about the past. Let's talk
wait
about
a
the
minute.
present.
Toilet paper. They're made out of trees. So I just told my husband, honey, we got a lot of trees. We'll just,
Just take
plenty
some
of
leaves.
leaves.
Take some
Yeah.
leaves. Whoop. Wipe
That's right.
away. Hey,
That's right.
if the bear can do it, why can't we?
I know on Charmin, right?
Those beautiful
That whole
bears, they only
commercial is
want
just
2-ply, though. They don't want that single ply crap. I
who
understand.
does?
No,
I
nobody.
blow my nose with that one ply. There you go.
God, yes. Even blowing your
Okay.
nose is too much for me. But yet, we are talking about current day stuff besides wiping our ass with leaves.
I'm so glad you said that. We are shiznit. How's that talking?
we are
Shiznit
we
talking.
are deep in wrestling stustuff because right now the WWE was just sold to Endeavor, and they're gonna
Yes.
UFC and the WWE are combining together. This now brings Vince McMahon back into power, which makes a lot of people on Twitter and probably the
Mm.
world a little confused, a little upset, a little scared. The positive Triple H momentum feels like it got slapped down in like 2 days. But what's your thoughts on this? Because Vince McMahon was in charge for so long, doing great business. He was out. Suddenly, everything was breaking records. Every house show, every Raw, every SmackDown, every pay-per-view was breaking records. Now he's
When
back
he
in
was
power.
out or
When he was
what?
out, for
Oh,
8 months, everything was up. Now everything we're still coasting. We're still fine. It's in the early stages of this. But what's your thoughts on this? Did you ever think that WWE would be sold?
sure. Everything's got a price.
Million
So
dollar man. Yeah.
congratulations on WWE and the Endeavor, by the way. I think it's hey, every business move has got to have its action plan. And Vince McMahon is successful, one, because of his daddy. And then, of course, him taking it to the next level, not once, not twice, but the pinnacle to hit you know, your pinnacle so many times in one business for so long is remarkable. So, yay. And I feel that change is good. A lot of people don't like change, but change is very scary. It's
Right.
the fear. And I embrace change. I love change. It's a challenge. So it's like my high, you know what I mean? So that's what keeps me going at, just it does. But anyway, so with WWE, I congratulations. Now you say everybody on Twitter doesn't
Twitter.
like it.
It's Twitter.
Okay.
Right.
It's Twitter.
It's
Okay.
not real.
I can't speak for them, but if they feel that way, they're reacting on what they see and watch. I don't think or feel that I can't answer for them, but I have yet to see any talent go out there and voice anything. One, you'd probably cut your career short. Two, um you just don't do that, good, whatever. You don't. It's kind of like if I ever broke up with a boyfriend back in the day, you just don't put that crap out on Twitter. I'm sorry, I me and so broke up. Oh well, keep your personal shit to personal shit. So anyway, And as far as what do I think about it taking a downfall when Vince came back, or how it was on the rise when he left, I believe that rise was because of Vince. Now,
Okay.
y'all can call and look at me like I got two heads. But again, just like any good relationship, it takes time to get to that point.
Mm.
Right. And so just because one day he was gone and then things started going up, that wasn't because of overnight success. That's called years of success.
Right.
I truly believe, though, however, writing is very important, passion is very important. And I mean, you can see this like this in a scale with wrestling. It doesn't matter who, what, where, and how is involved. When I was involved in Monster Jam, driving monster trucks for 20 years, which I just retired in 2020, is that a lot of people came in. We partnered with a lot of people. We partnered with Clear Channel. They came in and bought. So this was those were mutual, relationships. So this is the first big one that a family company has ever let go and done this. I'm used to this. I've seen it all the time in Monster Jam. So there's that. To me, I wasn't even, it's like, oh, good. Yeah, it was 9.3. Now it's 29.3 billion. So,
Right. Right. Right.
okay. Woo, that's great for everybody.
Yeah.
Guys, bigger picture.
Yep. Yeah.
Hey, it's going to be good for everybody. You, me, because it just gave you the platform to ask me or anybody what they think, because it stirs up conversation.
Well, of
So,
course. I think that's
come
the
on.
best. I think it's the best thing to possibly do as well, because with your expertise, you've been in the business for so long that you have a sense, your feet are on the ground. You
Mhm.
also are in and out of the business. So at least having your thoughts on this, I think people are really interested to talk about it, because again, you're such a proponent for women's wrestling. And I've read so many interviews you've done in the past or comments. One was about how Lita and Trish Stratus keep getting brought back, but there's some other women not being brought back as well. The Jacquelines and the Ivories
Mm.
and the Molly Hollies. They show up randomly for Rumbles here and there. But Lita and Trish always feel like, and I love them to death, but they always feel like those two get brought back.
Yes, again,
Why do you
I
think that is?
thank you. I had that conversation, and I even hit Trish up before the WrestleMania event on the DM, and I said, "Hey girl, this is your moment, have a good time. I support you, blah blah blah." And so it's not them personally. As
No.
much as I love them, I don't want to see them. So a lot of the clickbaits right now are going to be going, "Oh my God, Medusa just said she hates her." No, that's not true. Let me just make you clickbaits that I'm on to you. So it's not that, we don't love them and we don't, respect for what they've done for the business. It's always them. And so not only am I the one saying it, but now you've got some of the diva girls chiming in saying, "How come we're never used?" And I'm like, try being from my era. You divas were just kind of just recently. Let's go back a little bit,
No
right?
kidding.
So I feel that I have a lot to contribute to the business, and I love wrestling. I also hate it, just for other dumb reasons. And it's for incidences like this where, we want so much equality. We want so many rights. We want so many equal of payment and financial. Well, it's got to go across the board on everything. You can't just expect to be the cover or the face of WrestleMania when, you don't do the hard work.
Right.
It's there through the adversities of good time and bad time. And we have a lot of people preaching, hey, I want this, I want that. Well, if you want a great paying job and you want that big money, and you want equality rights, but yet you just want the glamorous part of it, do the work. Go do some concrete laying job. Why isn't any people, especially women, why aren't you screaming for those jobs? They pay a lot more than a fast food or anything else until you get to where you want to be. But I don't hear that too much. But again, I am for women in this whole thing.
Yeah.
However, do the work.
Yeah. Of course. And I
Amen.
obviously being, in Monster Jam, you brought it up. obviously when you stepped right in, it wasn't
I
like
was the only woman driver.
but
Yes.
you
That's
weren't
why
like
I was
you
brought
weren't
in.
champion instantly. You know what I'm saying? Like you put in the work, you put in the hours to get better at your craft, and eventually became the best at what you were doing. So just like how you're
Yes.
saying about Lita and Trish, yes, they put in the work, but yet
Yes.
there are other people who put in the work as well. And obviously on your
Yes.
half, after you came into Monster Jam and started dominating monster trucks, did other women follow suit?
Yeah, it was beautiful because they actually looked up to me. They asked me questions and I helped guide them. For the ones that want it, they will ask. They don't, and the people like myself, when the kids do come up to you, it's not to feel bad like they're taking your job. You had your reign, right?
Right.
So I feel like it would be absolutely a great 180 to see Trish or others to come out and say, a beautiful something. Hey, this is great, but I would like to see some of the women before my time get a spot and advocate for that. But we don't hear that. And I think that's why you're seeing and hearing more and more women saying, you're for women, but you're not advocating.
Right.
I'm not saying they're not. I'm
No.
just saying in whole people don't do that. So I would love to hear that from them because it would, as a vet before them, paving the way for them to be able to have this platform continuously.
Of
Not
course.
just me, other women. Let's just get that straight again, clickbait. That I'm telling you, you're in a sling here nowadays. So you just
Oh
got to
no.
make quotes. It's horrible. But anyway, it is what it is. And I feel, again, companies, um, I think they're starting to feel that flapjack feel where, let's say seasoned people in businesses, it's not so much age,
Hmm.
but people with knowledge are very valuable
Of course.
because it's wisdom. It is knowledge.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's pushing that pavement, pounding that pavement through all those years. And that is not in any scripts. That is actual work. So to have those people around to, if they want to be a part of something, I think is very important. I would probably hire somebody with more experience and knowledge than somebody just because they're young and fresh. But of course, we want those fresh minds, right? We don't want to stay stagnant in the old 80s ways because
Yeah.
God,
Oh
that's
boy.
what I was trying to change the trajectory all about.
Yeah.
But if you have that refreshed mind, it doesn't matter, your age, your religion, your color, your freaking whatever. If you have that mind, they're refreshing and you're vibrant and you're jovial and you're uh, God, welcome aboard.
Well, I would say younger is cheaper as well, unfortunately.
Younger is cheaper. There
And
you go.
that's when you run a corporation and you're like, well, if I could bring in someone who's been in the business for 30 years, you cost more than a 23-year-old who
Because they
costs
know
less.
their worth.
I agree.
They
No,
know
I
their
agree with
worth.
you. But bottom dollar, they look at people. Most people who are in charge of numbers are just looking at the numbers. Okay,
Yes.
if you let's just throw weird
Why is
scenarios
Vince
here.
and all them still in charge and they're 75 and 80? Because they know their worth.
Yes, well, also
Thank you.
politics a little bit might play a little
Maybe,
play
maybe.
into that as well. When you're in the weeds, obviously, when you're in the world of sharks, I think you might
Uh,
be uh, able to swim through other fish to get to the food you want sometimes, and other times there are
yes.
bigger sharks who knock you
Politics. I
down.
agree with you. Politics is a huge play in wrestling. Hell
Especially
yeah, it is.
in every aspect, men, women, tag teams,
Mm-hmm.
managers. It doesn't matter, I think, what aspect you're involved with. Any business, it doesn't even matter professional wrestling. You can work at McDonald's. You don't tell me each person who works the register wants to be better than the other person at their job. Of course they do, because they want the
Yes.
raise, they want
Yes.
the pat on the back by the manager. It's always going to be that way in any
Mm-hmm.
business. But yet, here we are now. Um,
Amen.
though in your book,
Mm.
probably it goes into greater
You haven't
detail.
read it yet.
I haven't had a chance to. I went to WrestleCon and you were already gone. You were
Oh,
already gone.
I was only there for Friday and Saturday, thank
Yes, I
God.
went there Sunday and I got to see Sergeant Slaughter and I
Oh,
got to see Brian Knobs and Kylie King, who I absolutely adore, a bunch of wrestlers. So I went there to purchase your book and
I'm
you
so
weren't
sorry.
there.
I'm so
So
sorry.
Medusa,
Say what? Okay,
Medusa,
whatever. I'm
I
going to be
can't.
doing a virtual soon for signing of the book, so that's available. Or I'm sure we'll work it. You can buy it on Amazon. How's
Hey,
that?
I don't trust me. I saw ECW Press puts out amazing quality
Don't
books for
they? Oh
professional
my gosh.
wrestlers.
Where's my book? I'm supposed to have my book here, but I don't. Anyway,
They have
my
a
gosh.
bunch.
They did an amazing job. The cover is freaking phenomenal.
Yeah,
And
I love
Paul Heyman wrote the
forward.
forward.
Yeah, lots of people are
Talk about
supporters.
bloodline.
Let's talk about the bloodline then. Cody Rhodes lost to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I was there on the floor getting ready to
Oh
go to
my
the
gosh.
WrestleMania press conference. I'm at the fireworks. I'm at the edge, and I'm ready to go to the press conference after. And we're all sitting there, and obviously Cody's going to win. Da, 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 da. Solo comes in, thumb, boom, pinfall. You talk about air being sucked out of a room. You talk about anger. There wasn't like, oh, well, that stinks. Like a bad guy won the movie in the movie. Oh, that stinks. No, no, no. There was the people I could see up in the throwing things, smashing things.
Are you
Around me,
kidding?
people around me who are all journalists, all in the media, were all just
Oof.
like, wait, what, uh, what's happening? And what did
Really?
happen? Oh my God.
I wasn't there that time. No.
Anger,
Wow.
disgust. There were feelings of just betrayal, feeling like you built someone up and then you just knocked them right back down. And that's where the Vince McMahon method of being
I'm
purchased
sorry.
and him
Vince
being
was in
power.
charge again. He called those orders, and I'm going to
Exactly.
tell you, it was the best angle ever. Now, y'all probably won't agree with me, but I'm telling you, either two things.
All right.
It was the best receipt to Cody Rhodes, or number two, which I think should be number one. It was the best booking ever, because there's only one thing they could be doing, or two things they could be doing with Cody, is just a big old receipt, and when his contract's done, his ass is out. Or number two, it's going to be the best angle ever.
Wow. I
Oh, I
love
think it is. I think it is. And especially when on Monday Night Raw and Brock, I thought that was brilliant.
I love that. I love that fact of the building to Brock versus Cody probably in Puerto Rico
Yes.
at Backlash, which is a great idea, a great way to sell out the arena already probably sold out because of Bad Bunny's involvement. So he'll obviously be
Yes.
competing as well. But yet, I love the receipt part because in the history of professional wrestling, always hear stories of bringing someone in to kind of screw them. But yet all those people who eventually get laid off and do interviews with, like Bruce Pritchard for years, would be like, now, why would we hire someone? Spend money on someone just to screw them. Everyone's like, because you can.
And
Like,
hey, I've been and seen behind the scenes, and I hear how things go. But I cannot and will not, and there's a lot of things I'll take to my grave. But I will say this, that that is not far fetched.
no, it's not. The fact that they named the $1 Million Man's, servant Virgil, which is the name of Dusty Rhodes, bringing
Yeah.
him in and having him wear polka dots and all these things. Everyone's like, oh, ha, 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 ha. No, these are ribs. These are flat out ribs. And you can tell connecting the dots, but yet then you sound like a conspiracy theorist when you're like, well, there must be this because of that reason. Like, either you
So
sound
good.
crazy or you sound 100% right. And you choose the latter on which one you want to land on.
Oh, shit is so good though. This is the best business men's soap opera. Period.
Yes.
It is. I
Yes.
mean, where else can you have a good time and not only monopolize it, but to control the world in a monopoly of something that is just incredibly, where huge multi-million dollar award winning stars watch wrestling. And when you finally hear that, you're like, yes, I am okay. Because the brightest people, the smartest people in the world that you would never think that would watch pro wrestling is because they enjoyed it as a kid. And one of them was Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
I was so glad to hear that he finally got in. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes, I
A
agree.
lot of people wonder about Cindy Lauper or Miss Elizabeth, and I keep telling them, they're like, just why? I'm like, guys, you got to think out of the box. You can't be angry at WWE. You got to think maybe it isn't WWE. Maybe it's something more personal on the other end of the people, where they're just like, I don't want nothing to do with them anymore. Or,
Mm.
yeah, they're whatever. Maybe they just say no. And it's okay. But people are like, on Twitter, it's like you're just blocked. Like, think it's not just one problem.
Yeah,
It's
there's a
just,
lot of that. There's a lot of that.
yeah,
You'll hear one side of a story, but you don't hear the other side. But then suddenly the other side
yes.
it tells your story, and you're like, nah, it feels fishy to me. On this sounds right to me. This sounds fishy. So
Well,
you land
everyone's
on which
gonna,
side you want.
yeah, yeah. So whatever appeals to you, what you think is right is what people lean to. And it's almost like in politics and anything anyway. So I feel I love fact checking.
Oh yeah.
I hate sometimes when I think I'm right and I turn out I'm not. And I'm like, well, damn it. And I start laughing and I'm like, oh, and then you just kind of keep fact checking. And it's just what a wonderful way to go.
It is very strange. I want to talk about a business proposition for you just for a second because
Oh,
you're
I want
very
a Funko Pop. I want a Funko
well.
Pop.
Let me throw something at you that I think you do
What?
on your own. You don't need Funko Pop. So you're very
Oh.
famous for dumping the WWF Women's Championship in a trash can, right?
Mhm.
Now, why haven't you ever sold trash cans?
It's funny you said that. So I don't know. I don't know. Somebody came up to me and bought a couple trash cans, the plastic ones, and they asked me to sign them.
Yes.
Like at WrestleCon, I'm like, okay. But it's like, who's going to carry around a big ass trash can? You know what I should do is in that trash can, I should have like a remake of the title,
Ooh.
Eric Bischoff's book, and maybe and the barbecue sauce that I had in there. And I was telling my story, and I should have that all in the trash can for a bundle.
There
Sell
you
it.
go. Pro Wrestling Crate or Top Rope Tuesday,
Yes,
all these little
Pro Wrestling
brands. Yeah.
Crate.
Hello. As soon as I was told I got the interview, I was like, first question, why don't you
Trash
sell
can.
trash cans? And that's the thing. People are probably writing down other questions for you, but the first question I had was, why aren't you selling trash cans? Because unfortunately, you are mostly famous for that main reason. You've done so much in your life, but
Well, the
people will always
problem
bring up
was
that trash can moment.
at that time, that's most TV TV airing I ever had.
True. But what were the plans though after that? Because it felt like you did that moment. It's talked about monumentally for the rest of our lives, but yet after that, it felt like there wasn't really a path for you.
No, well, I mean, I believe Bischoff was involved running the show at that time, and he said that he wanted to bring me in to start a women's division, and so I was really hoping that that was the start of it. But I mean, as you can tell, they didn't do much with women except exploit us, really.
Right.
So.
Hey, put on the skimpy outfit and go manage somebody. Usually it
Oh,
felt
I was
like
furious. I was so damn furious in those nightgown or whatever the bra and panties and bar. I mean, oh my God, kiss my ass, every single one of you.
there is a match. How I love it. I love your fresh attitude. It's so
Oof,
nice. Though there is a match, I think it was like a scaffold match. You and Shane Douglas are involved as well. And that to me is when I felt like, oh, okay, we got something going on here. We have
something
some
might, yeah, I did
momentum.
too. I'm like, hey, but I think it was just one way to think they could
Oh, Tori
just
Wilson was also in that
and
match.
Tori, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I think that was just one way of them thinking like we can demoralize, just keep, putting her in these effed up situations. Like we're
Huh.
just gonna have her wrestle men now. And we're just gonna have her do barbecue. We're gonna put her in evening gown. We're just gonna make her come out in a bathing suit and do the nitro cologne. And I'm like, this what I feel, I turned this all around and I kept saying, it isn't, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Okay, I'll say it. Okay, I effed up and okay, I'll own it. But it all fell back on the creative and who was running the show, really. So it was a reflection of them and what they couldn't do.
Well, also, how many women writers did you have in WCW?
Ah, zero. Just a round table of circle jerking men.
Right. And
Okay.
the same thing it seems like in the WWE right now, where if I do enough research, it
We don't
looks
have any
like
women
no
writers?
women work there anymore. Dana Warrior was there for a while. Stephanie McMahon stepped away as well. So there might be like one, maybe, but you brought it up like out of 99% of the men, you have maybe one or two women there, and how loud are their voices compared to the others in the room really becomes a detriment to women's wrestling. As in after
Oh,
WrestleMania, you see Bayley tweet out, hey, love story, it's kind of over. And I saw you tweet out saying, we love you, Bayley. We support you as well.
yes.
And
She
that's
may
why.
not have never known it, but I always thought she was badass talent.
Yes.
Or
And
still is. But I mean, boy, they missed the boat. I mean, I got it coming out in the cutesy little thing that was rolling around, and then she grew out of that. But
yeah,
I'm telling you, there's just I mean, I don't know.
And the Vince
Both.
McMahon thing stories, I think, have really set off wrestling journalist media, Twitter as well, as you brought up, that they're all very worried about the people who all were getting laid off before and then now got brought up back by
Now,
Triple H are
yeah,
all
now
very
they're worried.
worried that when you are, as you know, in any business, when you're the manager, you bring in your people because they're your people. Once you're
Yes.
out of power, the new manager comes in and fires all those people and brings in their own people. And that is going to be a lot of women wrestlers if that's the case. The Baileys of the world who seem to be on the outs and came back last year at SummerSlam. Io Sky, Dakota Kai, Damage Control. Asuka seems very upset as well. Drew McIntyre's contract's coming up. Like there is a
Yeah.
lot of oh my God, what's happening moments
But Drew
building.
really did well.
No
I don't care
kidding.
what it, I didn't care what anyone
Oh,
said.
I
I
loved
mean,
him.
I
The
thought he
pandemic, he
did.
was the guy.
I mean, Drew really showed some oomph, and I was like, damn. If he was trying to prove a point or do anything, he absolutely had the platform, and he did it. He delivered.
Yeah, I agree. So
Mhm.
I think everyone's very little worried about what's happening next. And again, it's not like everything's going to just fall apart one day. Everyone always thinks when, like, say, Sasha Banks and Naomi left, that the world was going to crumble underneath the
I
WWE's
know.
feet. But yet, I love them to pieces. But I went to WrestleCon and I saw them, and they were doing autographs, and they seemed
They're
fine.
doing all right.
Yeah, they're doing
Yeah.
fine. But
Life goes
did the
on.
world crumble? Did the ratings change? Did anything happen in merchandise sales? Peacock deals, Fox deals? No, not
No.
anything. Nothing changed. Hogan left, Bret
Amen.
Hart left, Shawn Michaels left, The Rock left, Stone Cold Steve Austin left, John Cena left. They all left. Guess
And
what?
it's still going
It's still
stronger than
going
ever.
strong.
Yes.
Not one person
Yes.
is the company. The company is the company.
Exactly. Now, Vince has, voice that he'll never make the mistake again and only promote one person at the top. You need a handful of people at the top. So when he was just pushing Hulk Hogan, there was maybe, a few, but it was always the main man. Now we got a couple main men, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's the way it should be. And women.
Of course, Charlotte Flair, I think, is one of the best in the world. And I don't care. I know she always gets insulted for some strange reason through people just insulting maybe her looks but her skills. You can't compare to anything. And she, again, in an interview, I want to bring this up. She said in a recent interview, well, if the men are guaranteed night 2 main eventing WrestleMania, why aren't the women guaranteed night 1? Rhea Ripley won the Royal Rumble. They weren't in the main event. Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble main event. Is it the Triple H in a press conference said, well, it was because of the storyline of the Usos and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, which was bigger. But you talked about equality earlier. Is that equality, or is that, well, storytelling? Like there's a give and take here. What's your thoughts on this? Because Charlotte Flair just thinks not just she, the women deserve a main event spot.
Okay, so I understand equality in fighting because that's all I've been doing in two male dominated sports.
Exactly.
I know more, I best, not better, but just best in my monster truck situation. And I'm going to say a good part of wrestling. I mean, I got
A
asked,
big part of wrestling,
yes, I
not a
mean, I
small one.
got ostracized. I mean, I continually had brick walls in front of me, and I had to find ways respectfully during the time I was employed and under contract.
Yes.
Let's get that straight, title
Yes.
trashers. And so it's not that I'm going to take Triple H's side, but women want equality and women want they want what everyone else has.
Mm-hmm.
And because rightfully so, in a world of where we're at. However, I'm going to go back to where you have to prove that you can do that spot. All right. So people and women and everybody feel that, hey, we've earned this spot. We need to main event. Or, hey, straight from the Royal Rumble, we get a spot.
Right.
But you got to ask your question. You got to ask yourself this question, and everybody out there, is a match or a storyline strong enough to carry a main event WrestleMania? Yep. I'm sorry. So on the defense of women, we're only as good as a group. All right. You yourself as a wrestler and your training and your ability to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, I'm only as good as the ring, because if that ring ain't put together and it falls apart and I'm wrestling, my match goes to crap. Number three, I'm only as good as the creative writers and what the storyline they give me. And
Yeah.
number four, their social media and how they market you. You are a package. You're a total package. And you rely not just on yourself all the time, 100% to deliver,
Yeah.
but these other three people. And it's very effing important. And I cannot stress enough. I would love to see women carry a whole card at WrestleMania, but we're not there. We're not. You're going to tell me as soon as we can have women's stories that are creative enough to make sense and women that can deliver all of that stuff, because there is many, many talented women that deserve longer times and more input and whatnot. But it's got to be that believability,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got to have that support with the company you work with. Now, I know they say they do, and they're giving them that platform and they get all of this stuff. But that whole bloodline, that whole match, it was Cody Rhodes, and I'm sorry, but it was it was so good.
Yeah.
And I can't think of one woman's match during WrestleMania that would have carried WrestleMania. Can you? That night?
No,
No?
like Triple H would get slack no matter what he said to that answer
Exactly.
of
So
why
I
did
have to take his side, and
and
I'm a woman. And
I was
if
just
I
gonna
think
say
it's right, I'm going to say it.
thank you.
If I believe otherwise, I just said it. It is what it is. Those are
Yes.
my feelings. Those are my facts. I'm not talking forever to anybody. Clickbaits. So yeah, there you have it. Come at me. Don't come at anyone else. Bitches,
I
I'm ready for you.
I love it because you make a really good point because Triple H, as a man, giving that answer of, well, Charlotte
He
and
would
Rhea
have been
Ripley
ridiculed.
couldn't
That
main
guy would have
event.
been. Yes.
He did. He was asked this. I was at the press conference night one. He was asked, why did the Usos and Kevin Owens and Zayn main event over Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley? And he brought up the
Because it
story.
was
It's the
better.
story that he's like, the bloodline storyline is the best thing going in the WWE. So we are
Yes.
going to squeeze out every dollar, every
Damn
cent we
straight.
can while we can, because at some point this will either end or flounder. And right
Mm-hmm.
now, it's not floundering and it's not ending. So we're
And
going
it's
to
not
keep
going
on
anywhere.
squeezing out that money. Cody lost. Everyone's sad. Boo-hoo. But guess what? It's not like the first time a good guy lost to a bad guy in a
It
wrestling
was
match.
great. I thought it was done well.
Yes.
Now, to go back to Trip and say, hey, Paul, let's start a great 6 to 8 months to a year, nice storyline, and
Yep.
let's think of something and let's build it like you did the bloodline.
Yep. Ray and Dom, I think, is a great example of something they built as well and kept like
exactly.
little breadcrumbs, even
I
separating
haven't
from
seen that
brands.
storytelling since the 80s and
Yep.
shit. You know what? Oh, excuse me. Whatever. Just
You
I
can
have
swear. It's
not.
okay.
You know what I mean? Look at the Miss Elizabeth and how long did all that stuff go?
Oh, Macho
Like
Man, Mega Powers exploding,
years.
WrestleMania 5. Yeah.
Gosh.
That was a whole year from WrestleMania 4 to WrestleMania
I have
5.
not seen a year-long program with a woman. So
Yeah.
when you start that and it starts getting some footwork and tread and marketing and publicity, why can't a woman headline WrestleMania one night and then the men head it the other night?
Yeah.
Okay. But I guess what? Creative, it's up to you, but then it's up to the women to deliver. And they're going to be able to tell if they can within 3 months. If they're not getting any feedback within 3 months on a storyline, then it's pulled back. And hey, let me work there and I'll do that. And I'd walk up to him and say, your shit's not working. You're not delivering. What can we do to work this out, girls? You got to step it up.
I love it.
Something.
I think
And
we
I would
need
lie
MADUSA.
because I want them to get better. It's not here for me to push them down. I want to see that happen. And the only way to do it is to challenge them to say, all right, what do you got?
Yep.
Or, hey, I got it. I got a great idea, by the way, for a long time with the women. But until they want to, I'm telling you.
So they want to give me that cash, then you're going to give that idea for free. I was like, what is it?
Not for free.
What is it?
Well, it involves the history of wrestling, and it just makes so much sense.
Well, I would love to
I mean,
see
that's
it.
a great way to birth the women into a great storyline, is to for it to make sense, not just to throw stuff out there and say we're going to start this feud and because it's this. You've got to make it make sense,
Yeah,
right? And just little things, a little bit at a time, going, what's over here, but what's really over here, you know?
I agree.
They
I
can do
agree.
it. Now's the time.
Yeah, I
You
think
got 1 year to WrestleMania to prove to me that I'm right or wrong. So let's, you and I are going to circle back next year.
I love it. I will be right here waiting for you. But I think because also the idea of WrestleMania is great, but WrestleMania was going to sell out without anything on the card. No, you didn't need to
Mm.
know what was on the matches. So now that it's happened and it's over, the complaining can happen, even though it is sold out without any matches on there. They're heading to Puerto
Yeah.
Rico, Bad Bunny. They're heading to London, Money in the Bank. Jeddah, already another money-making event there.
Yes.
Detroit, SummerSlam. They're going to Lowell, Massachusetts for NXT Battleground. Like, there's an endless amount of locations they're going to that are already selling out based on nothing, no matches, just, hey, we're coming to your town. And oh, okay, boom,
Yeah.
$500 tickets, $1,000 tickets.
Oh,
Like,
I know it.
and I think that's the problem. A lot of people, I always say it to people, there's wrestling, lowercase letters, and then
Yes.
business, capital letters.
So good. Well, God, I'm glad. I mean, this is good conversation because it's real and it's not like favoritism. It's let's just talk about what's really happening and the facts and what could be and what isn't.
Yeah.
And it just is. It's a matter of fact,
Oh,
So I would love just what I described. I would love to see the women headline. Absolutely. But
yeah.
we got to do something as a team to make that happen
Yes.
because the women are, they're fighting for it, but there's something ain't fighting for them.
True.
Sorry.
We had Bianca and Sasha Banks main event 1 year. We had Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, and Charlotte Flair main event 1 year as well. So we've done it before. We can do it again. But those storylines were all about, the
It was
first,
short.
and they were firsts. Like the first. Oh, this is the first time this is happening with Becky and Ronda and Charlotte. So that's what it really was. The first. Bianca and Sasha was something completely different. Again, a first, but yet they made sure you knew it was a first. And I've been to many moments where the WWE's like,
Well,
hey,
that's just it. Why are they running on firsts and then never happening again? It's kind of like the evolution.
pay-per-view. Oh God. Don't I was
Eh,
gonna say, yeah, that's like my number one question to people. So
Like,
it's always, why
why?
can't we do this
So they're
again?
trying to prove a point between two girls at WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
And then the second one was Ronda Rousey and the
Yeah.
very first time or whatever.
Yes.
I mean, okay, so slap them in the face. They did that, but it just kind of debunked everything they were working for. Let's do something.
Well, I'll be
But I
honest.
feel yes.
The Evolution pay-per-view, I'll be 100% honest. The reason that happened was because they were going to Jeddah that year, and no women were allowed to compete on that. This is my theory. No women were allowed
Yes.
to compete on that. That journalist was just murdered, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
heading into that, so a lot of bad publicity was surrounding the WWE. Suddenly, you throw in like a random all-women's pay-per-view, which appeases the people who are all angry about you going to Saudi Arabia. But was that pay-per-view for women equality, or was that for good PR?
Both,
Probably
really.
both, to cover up a little bit of your
I'm
mess that
telling
you're
you.
dealing with.
Well, it's kind of like politics. Don't look over here because this is really what's going on.
Oh boy, we won't talk about what's really going on right now because we'll get in trouble somehow with somebody, and I don't want
Isn't
to do
that
that.
sad?
I know.
Anyway.
This is a wrestling show. If I start talking about politics, I get in trouble. Big
Screw
time.
everyone.
We'll talk about wrestling
Whatever.
politics, not about the actual real politics, because I don't want, it's a mess out there. I don't care what side of the table you're on. It's a mess on both sides.
Yeah,
So I
agree.
100% agree. But what we can agree on is that people need to buy your book. The woman
Oh, let's go
who
back to the
would
book.
be king, the Medusa
Who?
story.
Yes.
Because again, this is something I think a lot of people have been waiting for, and I can't wait to purchase it. I tried to purchase it on
Oh.
face to face, but hey, I'll go to
Oh,
Amazon.
whatever.
I'll do my thing.
I'm
I will
trying
sit
to-
on my phone. I will order it right now.
I had one here. Damn it.
And so I will put it up. Don't worry, we will put it up to make sure we promote
Okay.
the book because
Oh,
that's
thank you.
because of course I think again legend. I think we're one of the best in
Yes.
the business.
Thank you.
I've heard you many times say that there's a weird scenario where we bring up the Attitude Era women, but we never talk about the new generation women or even the Golden Era women. You brought up Cyndi Lauper, but you have Wendy Richter and other talent like that who kind of been pushed to the side. You, Bull Nakano, Bertha Faye, other talent, not very brought up ever in conversations, but yet you held the ground for so long in the wrestling business. And to me, that's insulting to never hear your name in categories of top 10s, top 5s, or top number 1s.
Well, one is because people and WWE's at fault at this too, is that they may have the network or whatever channel and they still show everybody on there, right? Old, new, whatever, present, but they don't exercise and they don't talk about the legacy, I think, so much. So, and I understand that because they want to move forward. Everything is new and shiny. So, and you can't live in the past because that's, history and learn. However, if there is something that could be like helpful or positive for your business, that is the past. Why not?
Acknowledge what you've done right, not acknowledge what you've done wrong. And I think
acknowledge me.
I will acknowledge you, Medusa. I acknowledge you. I'm
That's such
sorry.
a great tagline, man. I
Don't
love
hurt
it.
me. Oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
It
But
is.
Medusa, it's been a pleasure talking to you today on 10 Count about your book. Again, The Woman Who Would Be King, the Medusa story. Go buy it on Amazon or find her face to face at a con somewhere. I tried to do it. I couldn't do it. But she's everywhere. She's traveling around the world doing her thing. So I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you contribute to the wrestling business and being here on 10 Count. Honor.
Thank you. I think I'm ready for one.
Oh, please, don't hurt me. I've been Seafall. She's been Medusa. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.